Hi everybody, welcome to Ecodriver. My name is Helmut. Today we go out on the Ecodriver loop with a fine little car, the Mazda 2 G75, and this is not the hybrid, the badge engineered Toyota Yaris. That's the original proper Mazda. Just need to set the just a second. So we have here the 55 kilowatt, 75 horsepower, 1.5 liter engine. It's a petrol car. WLTP consumption is 5.1 liters per 100 kilometers. NEPD is 5.3 WLTP, 4.1 NEPD. Unladen weight is 1,059 kilograms, 2,330 pounds. And I tried to move the car as efficient as possible on the Ecodriver loop. Talking of which, you see here, we start on the southeastern outskirts of Innsbruck, go out of town for about 1 kilometer in a 30 kilometer per hour zone, 20 miles per hour. Then we have an ascent, a climb, which elevates us around 360 meters, 1,100 feet, followed by some rolling hills, a descent, some mixed roads, speed limits ranging from 30 to 100 kilometers an hour, 20 to 60 miles per hour, some motorway, where we are restricted to 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles per hour, and at the end, 18 kilometers, 11 miles of city traffic. The cameras will be on all the time to show A, how am I driving in order to achieve the consumption that I will have achieved at the end, and secondly, or B, to prove that there is no need to go extra slow in order to be efficient. I hope you enjoy this. The weather isn't too good today. We had some rain overnight and the roads are still wet, but at least it's not raining now. And I hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you later. See on the far left of the dashboard, you see the revs, and with 55 kilowatts, of course, it's not possible to stay down all the time, as there is simply not enough torque to stay below 2,000. 8.0 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the climb. We're now coming onto the hills, and here it's important to make use of the possibilities of the change of gradient, make use of that change. If it goes down, build up some momentum, take this momentum into the next flat section or climb, and try to avoid maintaining the speed on the uphill at all cost, or maybe even accelerate, as on a hilly route, normally it's a hill and not a mountain, so it goes down soon after, and then you can build up the speed again, just like on a roller coaster. .0 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the hills. Yeah, let me say one word to low revs. You don't do any harm to the engine if you use low revs, as long as you listen to the engine. If the engine tells you if it's struggling by rattling, the whole car is shaking, and then you shift back. If you need a lot of power and you have a weak engine like here, 55 or 75 horsepower, yeah, of course, then you have to shift back and use higher revs. But by just maintaining the speed, let's say 50 kilometers an hour, you can use the fifth gear with this car. You don't do any harm to the engine. We're now coming on to the descent, and here it's important to avoid the active use of energy. Just use the momentum you have, but also try to keep the gear in with the injection cutoff. That means no injection there is no fuel injected, and that means you don't use any fuel. That's the most efficient way of driving a car with a combustion engine. We have two flat sections. I try to pass those or cross those without the active use of energy, but unfortunately, as see, we have the bus in front of us, so yeah, I'm not sure whether it's possible. We're coming to the end of the descent, and unfortunately we've been stuck behind the bus for the whole descent, but yeah, that's life. 4.3 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the descent. We're now coming on to the mixed roads, and it's about 17 kilometers. We have speed limits ranging from 30 to 100 kilometers an hour, 20 to 62 miles per hour, and it's the basic principles of eco driving. Of course, just you need to obey them here as well in order to drive efficiently. Keep the vehicle in motion, use the momentum the car you have built up, avoid braking. If you have to reduce the speed, do it by using the engine brake, as this means there is no fuel injected, as I have explained earlier. But also, sometimes it makes sense to just decouple and keep the vehicle rolling. One thing is the most important: avoid stepping on the brakes. Of course, before you crash, you brake, but braking means you destroy energy. 3.9 liters per 100 kilometers at the end of the mixed roads. We're now coming onto the motorway, and here we have a restriction to 100 kilometers an hour. If you ask why I don't do tests at higher speeds, because it's not possible. I need to go quite a distance to come to 130 kilometer an hour section, and most of the time, or with most cars, I simply don't have the time to do it. We're now coming to the end of the motorway, and we see here at the sign 3.9 liters per 100 kilometers. The motorway was extraordinarily quiet today. We're now coming to the last section of today, the city section. Here it's important, as everywhere else, to keep the vehicle in motion, try to anticipate what other road users are doing, try to make use of the knowledge you have about the route or the roads you're doing, as most trips are done on the same routes anyway. And read the road, try to see the traffic lights from as far as possible, and just try to avoid braking. Of course, before you crash you brake, but just try to avoid it by driving with good foresight. So we're now at the end of our trip on the Ecodriver loop with the Mazda 2. And we see here on the dashboard 4.0 liters per 100 kilometers. Yeah, that's not too bad. And now the details. So now let's have a quick look at the overall and sectoral consumption of our trip with on the Ecodriver loop with the Mazda 2, and hopefully in your language too. And now we switch to this table where we have a comparison with other cars that I have tested on the same route. And you see here the Mazda is, yeah, it's not too bad. It's there with the best. But one interesting thing is, if you look at the placement of the displacement of the car, of the engine, we have the Suzuki Swift, the most efficient car so far with 1.2 liters. And then we have all those crappy little 1 liter engines, those 3-cylinder engines, and the Mazda with its 1.5 liter engine and the 6-speed manual gearbox is just in the middle of it. And that doesn't mean, or that this means that a bigger engine necessarily needs more fuel. It can be driven as economically as the other cars with the small engines, but it has one big advantage, and it's the durability. So I'm sure a 1.5 liter engine in this car will last way longer than those small engines. And if you look at the consumptions here, 4 liters per 4.0 liters per 100 kilometers, yeah, that's not too bad. All the rules for eco driving, of course, you need to obey them. Otherwise, you're just one of those guys who uses 5, 6, 7 liters per 100 kilometers with this kind of car. Read the road, look ahead, keep the vehicle in motion, try avoid braking, make correct use of the start-stop automatic in city traffic. Avoid a restart of the engine unless it's really necessary, unless you start moving the vehicle. And yeah, and as always, Mazda is always a pleasure to drive, even the smaller ones with the nice engines, very good gearboxes. Yeah, talking about general rules for eco driving, I have put together a video with 5 tips how to do so with this kind of cars, and you can find this here. And down here you find the video of the Mazda CX-3, which you see further down the list here. And yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.